There's a bloodbath going on in commercial real estate. Billions of equity has gone to zero. Banks are taking properties back. And a lot of people who thought they were conservative are about to get exposed.
These downtown skyscrapers that were $200 million are selling for $5 million.
Let's say somebody paid $50 million in 2022. That property could be worth $25 or $30 million today. All the equity's gone, and maybe they sell it for the price of the loan.
All right. Hey, guys. Welcome back to the Jaden and James podcast, where we talk about real estate and whatever else might come up. Again, I'm James. We got Jaden in the house down there. Jaden, how's it going?
Doing great. How are you doing?
Good. Hey, you're the one, I think, sent this over to Brady. So do you mind setting this video up, and then we'll just start and stop? We're going to do a reaction video.
Yeah.
Hey, to do a reaction video though, you got to make facial expressions. Okay. So I know that's really, hard for you. Like, just go, wow.
I noticed YouTube, everybody's always like, everything YouTube is like, it's really not that. No, sorry. It's not that crazy.
Come on. You got just for the fun of it. Okay. Just try to remember. I get you. But go ahead and set it.
So this is Ken McElroy. He is a apartment investor. He wrote a book with Rich Dad Poor Dad, Robert Kiyosaki. It's probably behind him, The ABCs of Real Estate Investing. He's got a couple of books with Rich Dad. So I read his book many years ago. He owns 10,000 plus multifamily units, and he's been doing it for 30 plus years. So he's pretty knowledgeable about that, obviously, successful as well. So he's got some comments about the commercial real estate market, which he says is in a crisis. So let's go ahead and see what he says.
Yep.
There's a bloodbath going on in commercial real estate. Billions of equity has gone to zero. Banks are taking properties back. And a lot of people who thought they were conservative are about to get exposed. Now, here's the part that should scare you. Last year alone, we bought over $500 million in real estate. And even with that, I still can't get some of the distressed deals that I'm trying to buy. So the real question is, where are all the deals? So here's what's happened. If you're a lender or a debt fund, let's say, when you sell something, you actually have to take the loss. So why sell it? Better just to keep it on your balance sheet and asset manage it. So in other words, you don't actually have to show the loss right now.
Pause it, Brady. So I'm actually a limited partner in an apartment deal that went and got foreclosed on. And the bank did kick it down the road for a couple of years, but they did eventually take it back. And that went back about 9 months ago. So they are starting to take them back. But what he's saying is true. The lenders aren't in the business of running multifamily properties. So if they have an operator that's running it and the lender doesn't see that they could do any better or get somebody else to do it better, and they can't sell it and get the loan paid off, they don't have a lot of incentive to take the property back. In commercial, it's really weird. In commercial real estate, the lenders are not necessarily incentivized to foreclose on those properties when they're not getting paid. They're more incentivized to work out a deal with the owner operator. Whereas in residential, there's a very high incentive to foreclose on people when they stop paying you, because if a family's in a house and they stop paying you, you can take the house and resell it. It's a very liquid market. You can take the house and resell it. You can probably get all your money back up, get the loan paid for. Maybe you might even make some money on doing it as a bank. And so it's kind of unfortunate that, homeowners, if they stop making payments, they lose their house instantly. And commercial real estate owners have a lot more flexibility with banks, as I saw, So it's very interesting how that works. And businesses are the same way.
That's changing though, right? I mean, isn't it changing because of what's happening right now?
It's just I'm just saying the incentives haven't changed. The incentives are the bank's going to just look at it from a business perspective and go, what's my best business outcome? Which way can I go? Does keeping the current ownership in the property, running it, does that give me the best outcome? Or does foreclosing on them, taking the property and getting a different operator in there, is that better? And they can just look at that both ways and make a decision. And in a lot of cases, they'll say, let's just keep the current operator group. As long as they're not doing a horrible job operating it, they can negotiate.
So when you say operating it, are you saying like, I guess an apartment, or I don't know, I guess I'm
like an apartment complex. Any commercial real estate is operated. Every piece of commercial real estate is being operated by somebody.
Okay.
So operating meaning like if you have a strip mall, who is managing the tenants of the strip mall? Who's collecting the rents? Who's fixing the problems? Same with the apartment building. Like who is running that place? Who's leasing it? Who's collecting the rents? Who's fixing it?
But isn't that part of? I think we've learned it before. It's better to keep it going and up versus shutting it completely down.
If they look at it and go, well, you guys are probably doing about as good of a job as anybody could do. And the only reason you're not making your payments is because the market took a dip, which is like that one in Tennessee that I was involved in is what happened. The market took a dip and some other things happened. And like, were they doing a poor job running it? I mean, maybe they weren't. Maybe they were doing as good of a job as anybody could do. And it was just the circumstances. Right. If that's the case, then the bank's going to go, well, we don't see a better path right now. We'll just kick the can down the road for you. And they did it for a couple of years. And then eventually they go, well, you guys don't seem to be fixing this or getting any better. So we're going to take our chances. We're going to foreclose on it and resell it to somebody else. Mm-hmm. And they took a loss. The bank took a big loss when they did that. But at some point, I think at some point they look at it and go like, we don't see a path to this ever getting better, you know?
Right.
And if they give you a couple of years or they don't see a path of it getting better, they're going to go, okay, well, now it's time to take this back. But if they see improvement and they see a light at the end of the tunnel, they might give you 5 more years or 10 more years. They might rewrite the loan on you if they see a path to getting out of this thing, you know, where banks will do that with residential too sometimes, I guess, with the new loan modification programs and stuff. So that has started to happen. But so anyway, that's why he's saying you're not seeing these foreclosures. But like, you know, that one in Tennessee, obviously you did get foreclosed on and got resold to somebody else. So it is happening a little bit. So,
yeah,
anyway.
I think it's happening slower than he thinks it is. I think now they're starting to pop, right? And that's what they always talked about.
Well, they definitely have been happening. I've seen office buildings in Minneapolis sold at 5 cents on the dollar. These downtown skyscrapers that were $200 million that are selling for $5 million. And I remember like 5 years ago, I was always hear about these like A+ core properties selling at 4% cap rates and 3% cap rates. And they were, whenever I heard that, I'm like, why are they selling at, for 4 or 3% cap rates, these high rises in these downtown metros? I'm like, that seems crazy risky to me to be doing that. Mm-hmm. And at the time, well, the answer was, they're core properties. They're the lowest risk class of properties. I'm like, well, they're not low risk because the cap rates are so low that they became very risky because of the high valuations. Mm-hmm. And I mean, they don't look low risk now. I mean, some of those $200 million properties are worth less than $10 million now.
And that's
like
sad.
A 95% loss. That's a low risk property. Holy cow. So,
right.
Whoever's going to be up with these risk profiles was a little bit off on that, I would say. So I don't know. For some reason I saw that, but it ended up happening. I guess they probably won't be seen as core A+ properties anymore. But anyway, go ahead and roll some more.
Hey, sorry to get you out of that video. Just got a quick message for you. Are you looking to quickly fund your next real estate investment with low rates and less requirements? If that sounds like you should look into Kiavi. Kiavi is a hard money lender trusted by professional real estate investors across the whole country. Take advantage of today's competitive terms and quick close loans to fund your next property. If that sounds like something you need, check out the link in the description down below to check out Kiavi. And now let's get you back to the show.
Now, even though in many cases, the real estate is worth less than the loan. So what's happening is lenders are engaging brokers, and these brokers are putting out the deals to people, but they're not actually closing because what they're really trying to do is set the price and figure out what these properties are even worth. So that's how I know that there's actual distress, because we're actually seeing these deals, but we're not able to buy a lot of them right now, but we will. Because the only thing that will save them is lower interest rate and lower expenses. And I can tell you right now, we're definitely not going to see lower expenses. So what we're seeing is a flow of distressed commercial real estate. And the question is, how early should you buy? What should you pay? And how long will it take till you actually turn these around? Those are the 3 things that you need to ask yourself before you step into any situation and you catch somebody else's problem. Because the traditional real estate
is this recent? Do we know how recent?
Yeah, this is like 2 weeks ago, a week or two ago.
I just wanted to know the time frame. Yep, there we go. 11 days ago. Cool.
Yeah, this whole thing, this has already been going. We're in like year 4 of this now.
Right. That's what I wanted to make sure.
This is probably going to be a 10-year cycle, would be my guess, of this happening. Of this, like we're in year 4 of 10 probably of this going on.
You think on the downside, or
Yeah,
or
I mean,
going back up?
we're in year 4, and he's basically saying that we've hardly even seen any of it. And I would agree. Like, how much of the distressed properties have actually been sold?
So, how
10%?
much was that with COVID? Is all this COVID kind of related?
No, it was before COVID. COVID made it worse. It was because interest rates were so low before COVID. You could get 4% loans before COVID. Even cap rates were 4% before COVID. COVID made everything worse. So then the interest rates went down and cap rates went down.
That's what I meant.
Further.
That's where that was the downfall.
But even the stuff before COVID was bad. But yeah, the stuff
was like going to happen, but COVID has made it happen then.
The stuff that was bought during COVID is the worst stuff because people paid the highest prices for it because the rates were so low. So you're buying stuff when rates were 2.5%, and then the rate on that same asset now is 7.5%. Okay, well, and you bought it with no cash flow at 2.5%. Well, how can somebody now buy it from you at a 7.5% interest rate if it doesn't even cash flow at 2.5%?
Right.
It doesn't work. Right. So the only way that it's going to cash flow is if the price comes down by 50% or more so that you can actually cover the debt. So that's what the problem is the interest rates are so much higher. And everybody said, oh, it's going to be a year or two of high interest rates. That was 4 years ago that people are saying that. And, we're in year 4. So 2022, 23, 24, 25, year 5, actually. And, rates are not really much lower. They haven't come down much, and they won't come down. I don't think much this year, maybe a quarter point or something. There's not really any reprieve coming, and I think that's why that deal that I was involved in as a limited partner, not the sponsor, the bank I suppose looked at it and said, "Well, rates aren't coming down. Your expenses aren't getting any better. Your revenues aren't going up. Like we don't see that this is going to get any better. So we'll take it back."
Right.
Roll it some more.
Process is actually broken right now. There is no value add. What you're buying is you're buying price per pound. And of course, hopefully you're buying cash flow at the same time. So let me explain how this process is supposed to work. Normally, real estate is simple. An owner decides they want to sell, and maybe they're tired, maybe they want to retire, and maybe, of course, they think that they're at the top. So they call a broker and the broker lists it. The broker lists it and buyers tour it and offers come in. So people compete. It's like an auction. But what happens when the bank owns it? Who's emotional in that transaction? No one. Because the bank, of course, is trying to figure out what it's really worth. Even though the brokers might be accurate on what it is worth, if the bank takes the loss, they have to write off the loss. And by the way, the equity, gone. We're seeing massive distress, primarily the office buildings trying to convert to multifamily, and of course, some multifamily that was purchased within the last several years and has floating rate debt. Those are the 3 big ones. So let me give you an example. Let's say somebody paid $50 million in 2022. That property could be worth $25 or $30 million today. Well, I can tell you right now that that's about what the loan's probably at. So if they sell it at 25, all the equity's gone, and maybe they sell it for the price of the loan. But what happens if it's below? They have to actually write a check. So where does that $5 million come from? It comes from the partnership. If they're lucky enough to sell it for above the loan, then the equity, of course, the original equity is still gone. So from a syndication standpoint, from an existing partnership and an older syndication standpoint, most of that equity is gone. And the one thing that could potentially save you is time. If you can kick the can down the road or work with the lender for a long period of time, you may get back into the money. From a bank standpoint, the bank wants to sell the property for at or more than the loan. And that's the entire point of being in the first position. From my standpoint, I want to buy this property if it has cash flow and it's below replacement cost and it's in a great market that I can improve on.
Yeah, nothing else really to comment on that.
Honestly, I thought that was a really good explanation. How it kind of broke it down. And
yeah, I don't think we're done with that video. I think we don't need to comment anymore on that one. So,
yeah. Or final comments.
Commercial, like you said, if you bought like stuff that was bought in 2022, when rates were 3.5% interest, the values of those properties have gone down 30 to 50% potentially, and the loan is more than what the properties are worth. So those things that were bought in that time frame, 21, 22, maybe even 23 a little bit, probably all going to get foreclosed on. Unless something happened to make it more valuable.
So it's not going to happen all at once. It's just going to slowly happen. Are you thinking? In your opinion?
It seems like slowly, like you said, because these banks will do everything they can to delay this stuff as much as possible.
Right.
They have no incentive to make it go fast. So,
Well, I mean, are they sending out their own people to analyze it and figure out like, hey,
yeah, like you said, they're having a broker look at it, solicit offers on it. They won't list these in the market. They'll have a broker like, hey, call your top 10 buyers, top 5 buyers for these kinds of properties in this marketplace and get an offer on this, and then bring it back to us. And then we'll use that to determine what we think it's worth based on those offers. And then they'll try to figure out if, could they sell it? If the offers are high enough, they'll sell it. If it's not high enough, then they'll figure something else out.
Right. No, that I actually, again, I don't know as much about the commercial side of it. If anybody's ever wanting to talk a little bit more, I mean, have them reach out to well, probably you, Jaden. You're the one that understands that stuff way more than I do. I'm more on the residential.
I've done some commercial stuff. I've bought a couple hotels with commercial loans, and I've been a passive investor in mobile home parks and apartments and self-storage and industrial. Never done any office, I don't think, and I'm probably not going to. But I've definitely looked at some office deals, and I'm glad that I never got involved in them because the office market just has gone down.
Right.
So, yeah.
Right. Well, hey, thanks for jumping on with doing this quick video. For those who don't know, we actually just spent 2 hours doing something completely different on this, so we just needed to cut out another video really quick. Hey, if you guys want to talk more, you guys know that we're in the franchising business. We'd love to sit down and talk to you and see how maybe we can either help you jump into the wholesaling and understanding even more, or maybe take your business that you have right now to the next level, branding it and stuff. So again, like us, follow us, do that all. And just remember, we made all the mistakes.
So you don't have to.
Thanks, guys.